Welcome to the F5 Application Security Manager Web Application Firewall Demo Series. In this demo we'll show how we can block 4 common and dangerous web application attacks: command execution, SQL injection, cross-site scripting.